Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Hello, welcome to Williams and Blum Wednesday early edition. We did this for a couple reasons. One, with the women's game tonight, it helps keep things not as dated. A big one for the Iowa State women at Hilton Coliseum. We're going to react to last night's game, where Iowa State now sits in the net and all that good stuff. And let's just be honest, Blum had a very important meeting. The bag man is on the move. It's that time of year. Looking at the off season
fun. Post players.
Got to fund those post players.
That's right.
He is Brent Blum. I am Chris Williams. Aiden Wyatt producing as always, as we are presented by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation, MECHDYNE.com, enabling discovery. Check them out today. Of course, you see the bottles of Cody Road in front of us. If you are watching live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, and we are in the Wild Rose Casino studios. How are you today, Blum? Good Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's. Can you say happy Valentine's Day to a colleague? Is that allowed?
Yeah, you can. I didn't realize that, like, Valentine's Day, you're not supposed to say at school. The kids aren't. It's called like Friendship Day or.
Oh, news. Oh
yeah.
My gosh. Crazy.
In fact, in Cameron's class, it's called, they're having a spring party.
Today?
No, it's actually on Friday.
Yeah, same. It's like, what are we doing? Like
Elise and Theo, no, they got the Valentine's party.
Aiden, what's up with
Generation Alpha, man?
Seriously, what's
going
deal?
on?
Your mom's a teacher.
Why are we
right?
afraid of Valentine's Day?
My mom is not a teacher.
Oh, wait a minute. You have some sort of connection to teachers? No? Why can't you call it Valentine's Day in 2024?
That's a great question.
First,
let me do some research quick.
First, it's Christmas. Now it's Valentine's Day.
The war on Valentine's Day.
What are we doing?
No, a really awesome win for Iowa State last night. Do you agree with me? Rob and I did a pod after the game. If people want the raw reaction, this will be a little more in depth. That was one of the best wins of the year. I know that Cincinnati was they're 4-5, and
they were favored.
But the way Iowa State did it in such a dominating fashion, it was really impressive just across the board. I thought that's top 3 win. And I will say it again. I started to murmur this on Sunday night with you. This team has the makings. It has the build of a third weekend type run in the NCAA
crazy,
tournament.
But you're starting to now see the national pick up a little bit. These Iowa State's actually pretty good. It's like, well, we've been trying to say for a couple of months, but that's the thing. I'd say the national media is probably 3 weeks behind. Iowa State has now put itself in an unbelievably great position with this win. I mean, you're first in the Big 12. You're tied with Houston. Technically, you have the tiebreaker. You do play there Monday. But it is now, we talked about it Sunday, it's becoming even more evident. It's a 2-horse race. This is Iowa State, and this is Houston to win the conference. Iowa State is 8-3 in the Big 12. Its best start in the Big 12 since 2001, the last time Iowa State won a Big 12 regular season championship. None of Fred's teams started 8-3. What Iowa State is doing this year has been very unique. And again, last night, Momcilovic, probably his worst game in conference play, scores only 2 points. Didn't matter. Turn him over 25 times on the road. C-Dub, I cannot tell you how just wild it is. Iowa State has now turned over Cincinnati 25 times at home. And then same to TCU, was at 27, 28 times. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen in the Big 12. This Iowa State defense, when it's on and locked in, Cincinnati at one point in that second half is like they were looking around like they did not want to be there. They wanted no part. As somebody put on the old X machine, Iowa State had Cincinnati in hell last night for a good portion of that game, and it caused the home team to boo its own. The home fans to boo its own team. It was one of those games where you didn't play great offensively, but I thought your bigs did a nice job early, and then Kurt Jones comes in and make some shots again. It was just a really, really well-rounded win. Not super sexy, but the metrics loved it.
The turnover percentage for Iowa State, I'll just go just in conference play. Doesn't change that much if you factor in the non-conference, but the opposition is turning the ball over on almost 26% of its possessions.
Insane.
Against
it's one
Iowa
thing
State.
if it's Prairie View A&M.
Well, that's why I gave the conference only. So it
Yeah.
goes up to, if you do the non-conference, 26.3. So it's really not that big of a difference.
This is crazy because we thought Iowa State would take a step back defensively.
Oh, that's where I was dead wrong on this team. They
are locked in. They are locked in right now on that end. And I give Rob and Hassan a lot of credit for that. But everybody is just, even Pav comes in and plays some great minutes again yesterday. I'm super excited for this group. As long as it stays healthy, man, it's looking really good.
I think too. You tell me if you think I'm overplaying it. I just think Ward makes all the difference in the world, because the rest of these guys, I'll go back to what Bill Self said after Iowa State beat them handily.
Yeah. They made it through.
Yeah, they made it at the end, but if you watch that whole game, Iowa State was the better team. Like, it was clear to anybody who watched it. And Bill was talking about just the Hoiberg years and the legacy of all those guys. And he's referencing this team, and he says, I just don't know if they have one of those guys, which I would argue that Momcilovic will be, and whatever.
Yep.
But this is Bill Self, arguably one of the top 5 greatest coaches of all time, is making this analysis of Iowa State. That's why I always tell Connor, like, post the other team's press conference. People want to hear that more than they do their own team. Whatever. When I look at this team defensively, Lipsy, Gilbert, Jones, all these guys are really nice players, and they play really hard. King, none of them are erasers, right? Like Brockington was an eraser.
Sure.
He was that good. Lipsy might be.
I'd say Lipsy's there.
Lipsy might be
in his category.
But in his defense, he's not crazy athletic, right? Like, he's
not 6'9".
He's super
6'10".
smart.
Yeah,
Ward is the one guy that I'm watching right now in this Big 12 play where he's just an eraser. Like, if somebody's out of position, Ward's long ass arms come in there and he makes a difference. Now, he fouls a lot, and I understand that, but there were a couple of plays last night where, Ward comes in and gets a block in the second half,
or
and
a tip or
right.
something.
Like, they're collectively an elite defensive team. I think Ward individually is an elite defensive player, which, man, you look back to some of those games where they struggled. Well, Hassan's on the bench in foul trouble, or he wasn't playing.
Right.
I just think that guy is massive to what they're doing right now.
In a team full of some great surprises, he's got to be at the top. And this is saying Taman is turning himself into a first-team All-Big 12 player. I think Taman's been great. I think Kurt Jones has been unbelievable. The last 7 games, it's no coincidence. I mean, look at that guy's numbers.
He's their most consistent player right now.
He's been so good.
Right. I know Taman's the best player. He's the most consistent.
Which is wild. Like, go back to November and people are saying, hey, this guy was a miss. It's like, man, Kurt Jones has turned himself into like a second-team All-Big 12 guy.
Yeah.
Keyshawn's been – all these guys have been
man
good.
of the year right now, right?
Gotta be.
I think Otts is the coach of the year. He's the 6th man of the year. Lipsy's first-team all-conference. Ward is making a case to be defensive player of the year.
If he would –
if he could get out of foul trouble, Lipsy could be that too. And Gilbert's right there.
First team. I mean, Momcilovic, maybe the newcomer of the year. It's probably going to go to Walter at Baylor, but it's going to be close.
Can I make a point on Momcilovic too, real quick? He goes 1 of 5 last night, but he still plays 35 minutes. And it shows you like that he's not this defensive zero like a lot of people were worried about going. TJ stressed that early in the year, but he's a complete player. And even if he's not making shots, he tied with him and Gilbert, both played 35 last night to lead the team. So it shows you what Otts and those guys think about it.
The thing about Milan that it's hard to appreciate, especially you see, he didn't play that great. He's 2 points. What he does, though, because I had some people sending me, hey, they should sit him. He's not playing great. But what Milan does that really nobody else can is he occupies a defender at all times. And if you look at in the second half, I mean, they were sticking Milan in a corner. but allow the driving lanes for Tame and Kurt and Keyshawn because you can't leave him. Now, somebody said, well, you've put Watson in there. Well, they're gonna sag off Watson. Then the lane gets a lot more congested. It gets harder. Why Milan is so valuable, he's not a zero on defense. He's holding his own, and he always occupies somebody on that end. The ball moves so much better when he's in there because you have to worry about him at all times.
Which they just haven't had that guy.
Exactly. I mean, you look at what's the difference between this year and February last year. It's Milan and Kurt Jones are occupying people on the perimeter, so it allows the opportunity to drive it. And then the improvement, again, of Ward and Rob Jones has been great. I mean, Rob Jones, look at his stat sheet. 12, 6, played great, 6 of 7 from the floor. Again, watching a lot of basketball. I think Iowa State they're 8th in net, 8th in Ken Palm now. You're ranked 10th. You win Saturday against Texas Tech. That'll go up because North Carolina lost. You're starting to play yourself in certainly the 2 seed line.
Absolutely.
I don't think and you guys, this hasn't happened in a long, long time. This is great. And the great thing is, I think going back to those Eustachy teams, this team's ability to grind out every single style is going to be great. I mean, the concern always with the Hoiberg teams, then the Prom teams, is you have an off shooting night. It was going to be hard. But this team didn't play that great shooting the ball last night and still won pretty comfortably. And that's a great sign. I mean, this is as tough, hard-nosed, mentally just focused group as I've seen in the last 20 years. And that, when you get to the tournament, that's what's really going to help. Is it a guarantee you're going to make the Elite Eight? Absolutely not.
Weird stuff happens in March.
But
everybody knows that.
You've got the depth. You've got the guard play. The bigs are good enough. I just, looking across the country, Iowa State's right there. And that's why it's like this next 4 weeks, 5 weeks is going to be a blast because this is rarefied air for Iowa State. It really is.
GravitateCoworking.com. I want you to check them out if you're tired of your home office, if you're tired of working with a guy like Aiden every day and you need to get out.
Generation Alpha.
God, Aiden's been here full time for like 45 days. And it's just like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. I'm kidding. I love you, buddy. I love you, little man. But if you're in a situation like that, you could give our friends at Gravitate Co-working a call. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com. Locations all over the metro. Also, my good buddy, Jeff Kelderman and Kelderman Manufacturing. Got a pumped up text from Jeff and Mark from over there at Kelderman last night. They were fired up at that win. Who wouldn't be? Kelderman.com. They are right now wanting to pitch to all of you engineers out there who need laser cutting services. Man, that could be a pain in the ass, I'm learning. And Kelderman's here to help you out down in Oskaloosa. Good local company who supports the Cyclones. I know they give to We Will, and good people down there in Oskaloosa. Big racing fans as well with Daytona coming up on
That's Sunday.
Yeah, we got the twin 125s tomorrow night. You want to come over and chug some beers and watch the races tomorrow night? Thursday?
Yeah. Dude,
bring Theo and Ev over.
Can you wager on those?
Hell yeah. Why else would you watch the qualifying races at Daytona? I actually starting a new podcast later today. This would be fun.
Oh, good.
No,
another one for you. More work for you.
This is a passion project.
Okay, good.
It's not on Cyclone Fanatic. It's with our racing website. But this is cool. There's a guy. His name's Gio Selzy. My guy, Gio.
Yeah,
I don't know if you met Gio yet.
Dirt track guy, right?
But he lives in Pleasant Hill.
Okay.
And he's literally one of the top 5 guys in the entire world at what he does at the World of Outlaws and sprint car racing. And I know a bunch of his car owners and stuff. And we're going to start doing a bi-monthly or whatever for racing pod, and kind of think of it like a little bit like a coach's show where we're going to go over his results, but then also he's a very opinionated guy. So we're going to have fun. I'm excited for that.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank
that your favorite time of the year is here.
Well,
NASCAR.
Actually, it is my favorite time of year. I truly think I've gotten to that where
got March Madness.
Yeah, really like NFL playoffs through the end of March Madness, I think is the best. And I used to be a huge college football guy, which I still am, but I'm more of an Iowa State guy now. Like I don't get that amped up to watch LSU and Florida play.
Sure.
Like I would rather watch the Chiefs in Buffalo. But if it's Big 12 football, like I've just, I don't know. I've evolved into that where I like what I like, and I'm not going to try and spend all day watching college football unless it directly impacts Iowa State.
It's why woke up. I was driving the kids to school today, and I see all the Bondurant wrestling, state wrestling.
Yeah,
what is going on?
This is a good sports weekend, though. Isn't it an NBA All-Star weekend too?
Yeah,
and Halliburton's playing in that.
He's a starter.
This is always I love NBA All-Star Saturday night because you always have good college basketball. You've got state wrestling finals, and then Daytona 500 coming up the next day.
And the sun's out. It's on spring.
Wow.
Going to be in Kansas City.
It's supposed to snow later this weekend.
What?
You know that, right? Yeah. Jennifer is watching on Facebook. She wants to know where she can buy your hoodie. Are those for sale?
They are. Let me get the address for you. I'll announce that later. Yeah.
All right.
This helps the collective.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer.
There you go. Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment here. We will talk about the Iowa State women's game tonight coming up. I believe Bloom is on his way up to that later on this evening. Kansas with its worst loss to an unranked opponent in like 70 years at Texas Tech on Monday night. Bloom, plant your independence, plant Wiffles.
Real quick on the hoodie.
Yeah.
If you go to the WeWillCollective.com.
Okay.
And then you go to collaborations, and then you look for the sniper golf collaboration.
Okay.
And it's all there. You can get golf balls, golf season's coming out, hoodies, hats, the whole thing.
There you go.
Aiden got a hat the other day.
When am I going to get a freaking hat?
I'll get you a hat.
I want the black one.
Clint, if you're watching, get Williams a hat.
I'll wear it.
I know you. Okay. No, that's actually some great stuff. And literally half.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, there's nobody in your little cocoon that can reach more people to sell merch than me. Why wouldn't you give me a damn hat? I don't understand this.
Buddy, I'll get you want a hoodie? You want you
take
want
whatever you got.
Hey, they're looking right here. There's a women's puff vest. You're a big vest guy.
I am a huge vest
I don't know.
guy.
Can you have a men's?
The staff
puff
makes
vest?
fun of me because I wear a vest every day.
I'm gonna get you a We Will vest, pal.
I don't know where that started either. I just started wearing them, and now it's like
You're
my
the vest
comfort
guy,
thing.
yeah.
I like to do
You-
the PJ Fleck and do the tie underneath when I'm.
You pull it off. Like some
Thank
people aren't vest people. I would be one of those because I immediately look like the guy in the stapler in Office Space. Like anyway,
Never seen Office.
you
Space.
haven't seen Office. Aiden, have you seen
Yes,
Office
yeah.
Space?
What's his name?
Is it Milroy? No,
Something like that. Milton. or
Milton.
something, I think.
Milton.
Yeah. The guy who talks like this.
So
That's pretty good.
Kansas lost
How is Generation Alpha Aiden?
Z.
Oh, you're Z.
because Aiden's a nerd and sits around and
You
watches
don't
movies
watch-
while I'm out
you
like
haven't seen
doing stuff.
Office Space?
No,
I
I've seen Dumb and
rewatched-
Dumber 100
I
times.
rewatched Shawshank Redemption this weekend.
Oh my, God,
gosh,
what a waste of time!
great movie! What a
Yeah, he
great
crawled through the poop and he's free.
What a man!
Great.
What a great. Yeah, my guy Andrew said, yeah, you should move to Northern California, be a venture capitalist with that vest. Apparently, venture capital loves vests.
Really?
Yeah, you could probably drive a Rivian truck then.
Anyway. Okay. All right.
It's a great show.
Let's do the Wiffles Hybrid segment here.
Yeah, Big 12.
Sorry, I
did
got
you
distracted.
watch? Did you watch Oklahoma and Baylor last night?
I watched. So I got done working, and it was one of those nights where the wife was working. So I got off the air, got kids to bed, come back out, and saw, and it was like a 20-point game at that point. So I did not get to see a lot of that one.
Baylor is rapidly improving.
Thank you.
They are.
I tried telling you that on
No,
Sunday, and you argued with me.
The big fella has been really, really
And
good.
give credit where it's due. Drew's one of the best coaches in the country. This
This
happens often.
They
with
are
them.
doing a very nice. And then Jaden Nunn, who
Iowa State recruited.
recruited.
Yeah.
He committed to Prom.
He did, and Prom didn't want him.
No, TJ didn't want
TJ didn't want him. Yes, that's what it was.
him. So Nunn goes to VCU.
Well, they took Lipsy was the thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this wasn't a
it was Taman or Jaden Nunn.
don't not disrespectful to Jaden. Been a really good player, but
Yeah.
he went bananas last night.
Yeah.
Made like 7 threes.
Yeah, I was trying to think back to when that happened, and that was the situation because they only had enough space for one of those guys.
Well, and they remind because this again, I'm going back in the way back machine here, but Nunn had committed to Prom during the COVID year, and he was a very unheralded recruit out of Flint. He was a Williams Small guy, I believe. Remember Coach Small? Right?
Yes.
And then when TJ got hired, I believe Small wanted to stay on as his assistant potentially. And that was one of the cards. It was like, hey, I get Nunn to come here too. And TJ's like, no, we're good. And so the none did not come.
Yeah. These recruiting stories all get crossed
They all
up
get crossed.
over years.
Back
too.
to Baylor. They're playing really well. Their guards, my tune has changed on them. I was super impressed with them last night because what they lacked in the first half of the year was any length at the rim. And this Misi guy, this freshman, has been awesome. He's turning himself into a potential lottery pick. Like literally in the last 2 weeks, he's been so good. And he changes their dynamic a lot because he gives them a 7-footer at the rim, which they didn't have. And with their guards and him inside, they're interesting. Still don't think they guard great, but when Walter, Dennis, and Nunn are on, I mean, they're formidable. I don't think they're in that Iowa State-Houston conversation, but they are, in my opinion, until McCullar's healthy, they are above Kansas.
Isn't it interesting too, when you look at Iowa State right now and you look at this win streak that they're on, where how many of it? 1, 2, 3, so you've 6 of 7.
6 of 7.
And I mean, really, you're 0.2 seconds away from
7 of 7.
Like, how good would that Baylor win be if that shot just counts? Now, I would also make the argument that Iowa State shouldn't have even been in that situation. So, whatever.
Yeah.
But my point, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, I don't think we realized how good Baylor was at the time. Compared to where they are a week and a half later.
Yeah, looking now, a win now at Baylor's going to be. They're going to be right in that top 10 conversation as well here next week.
What'll be really fascinating to me is, I'm watching Kansas right now. Does it look to you like, I think Self knows that the Big 12 is toast, and I think he's playing the long game. Would it be surprising to you if, like, March 5th, it's like, oh, here comes Kansas?
Yeah, well, they have to get McCullar and Harris healthy.
That's my thing.
Yeah,
why if you're them and your analytics are good enough?
That's a really interesting point.
I mean, if you're Kansas, it's like, just be a 3 seed and be healthy going into the tournament with your talent, and then all of a sudden depth doesn't matter nearly as much.
Good point. Good. And you've seen this before. Remember when Embiid got hurt? It was about 10 years ago, and he sat him in the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, and we're all like, "Oh no, Embiid!"
My gosh!
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
and then they go deep. They're concerned, but I'm sure they still want to get to Omaha too.
Yeah,
and they're falling behind Iowa State.
I'm not saying they're tanking. I'm just saying it's well documented they don't have much depth this year.
Yeah.
So if they're going to make a run, it's going to be with their top 7.
Yep.
And you've got to get those guys healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's my feel with them. They're 7-5 in the Big 12 right now. I think Self has thrown in the towel. I think if they can get to
give them to 10-8,
10-8, 11-7,
yeah,
then he's going to be really happy if they're healthy going into March.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
They are, which is great for Iowa State, because I think Kansas is now going to get removed from that 2-seed conversation,
which is very fair and probably rightfully so. I mean, 19 in KenPom right now.
They're getting more love than they should as a 2-seed.
17 in the net.
They're going to start falling back to that 3-4 line, and guess who's going to replace them? Your Iowa State Cyclones. So
I think it's
Baylor
more
too.
likely than not Iowa State's in Omaha at this point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
After last night. Granted, if you don't screw up against West Virginia or Texas Tech at home or something like that. Maybe you could even do that. I don't know.
You go 500 the rest of the way, you are in Omaha.
And
no question. You could even probably go, we don't want this to happen. You could probably go 3-4 the rest of the way.
Iowa State's going to be favored in every game except Houston.
Yes. Man, I'm saying, yeah, guys, go get your hotels. Go get your Omaha hotels.
I think it's safe to book.
I think you can book.
Now get the insurance.
Get the insurance. Yeah, make sure you can get the cancelable rate, but I would do that and beat the rush. Otherwise, you're going to end up in.
Do you got any bars? I have a Council Bluffs bar.
No, our buddy Dan Roulette.
That's a small venue, but we could just hike up the price and make it really exclusive to get
he's
in.
an Iowa State alum.
Yeah. And that he makes phenomenal beer too. Dan, if you're watching, send us a text.
Chat.
But if we're in Omaha, we have to do an event.
Lumen.
We have to do an event.
Oh, we're going to.
So we'll have an event in Kansas City,
and then one in Omaha,
and then one in Omaha the next week.
Prepared. This sets up as well as it ever. I mean, not getting ahead of myself, but this is almost like 2000 when you're in Kansas City as a 1 seed, you win it, and then you go to Minneapolis. Now, granted, that thing got sideways because Iowa State was the 2 with Michigan State as the 1. And we had the conversation with Larry about that. He was less than pleased to be playing in Auburn Hills for good reason. But man, I'm telling you, this is as optimistic as I have been about an Iowa State team in March. I'll put that Niang team before he broke his foot. I mean, that team was playing super, super good basketball. But I think this team, it's going to be in Omaha, most likely. You're going to have a great fan base. And the way Iowa State can play, all styles. I was looking last night. Iowa State is 5-1 to make the Final Four.
What?
5-1.
Wow. I would have guessed like 12-1.
Yeah, 5-1 to make the Final Four.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like it's us on Cyclone Fanatic here.
No.
Like this is,
and that I don't even. Joe's watching on Facebook. Says I don't like these conversations. It feels like a jinx. Jinxes aren't real.
The jinxes aren't real.
That doesn't matter. Like Big Rob Energy ain't sitting around listening to us on Cyclone Fanatic being like, "Oh, did you hear the boys?" No, I'm just saying. Like,
let me read. Can I read?
If you just looked at Iowa State's profile and
Remove
take Iowa State out of it,
remove the name. Yeah,
any one of you would go, "Oh, that's a third weekend caliber team."
That's a 2 seed.
Now we all know Hampton can happen.
Hampton, and it has.
Yes.
UAB could happen.
It could happen. This is March. It's why we love the tournament. It could happen. It's another reason why Omaha is so big. I was at the UAB game.
0 life.
And it was all Kentucky fans rooting against Iowa State.
Correct.
So that's that's why we're stressing this right now.
Okay.
And I have thought about it. I'd rather be a 3 seed in Omaha than a 2 seed in Spokane.
No question.
Thought about that.
No question.
I made my decision.
I agree with that. All right. So here's the odds to make the Final Four. Again, I am not making this up.
Which book are you on?
What am I on here? I believe this is DraftKings.
Okay.
All right. Connecticut at 155.
Yeah.
Purdue 160.
I think Connecticut and Houston are the best teams in the country for what it's worth. I think Purdue, they could always flame out.
They could, yes. Houston's third at 220.
Okay.
Tennessee is at 275.
Yep.
Arizona at 280.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina is sixth at 360.
Yeah, because they're so old.
They're
like that's their advantage. It's like I know they're losing some games now, but
they'll be okay.
You get them in March. I think they're really good.
Auburn's at 400. Alabama at 425. And then it's 3-way tie here. Marquette, Kansas, Iowa State at 5-1, 500.
So they still have Kansas right there. They're thinking the same thing as me.
Yeah,
Where's Baylor? Are they on that list? I'd like to
are.
see what their shot is.
They are 9.
I'm just curious. Is BYU anywhere?
Yeah, they're right there. They're at 12.
Really? Okay.
They're hanging around. Now they about blew it last night, but
BYU is the weirdest.
It's a strange.
Honestly, it might be the weirdest Big 12 team I've ever seen.
Are you in the league? It's like
they're 6-5, and they just skate past these like bad teams, but their analytics are just out of control. Good.
They were in control all night last night.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game.
UCF made it a little bit interesting late.
Oh,
Guys. We're not jinxing. We're just telling you this is fun times. Let's enjoy it. Could it all go to heck? Sure. But, that's March.
MoveWhatMatters.com. I want everybody to check it out with our friends from the Iowa State University Foundation, one of our great sponsors here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. We will be gearing up for Forever True Day coming up. That's turned into one of my favorite holidays. I consider that a holiday, watching everybody give to their favorite. I'm a giver to the marching band, the School of Journalism, the School of Veterinary Medicine, and our friends over at the Ivy College of Business. MoveWhatMatters.com. You can be a more well-rounded Cyclone. Give me a preview on tonight's women's game. Is Lee playing? Do we know?
I would say, Aiden, I don't know if you have an update. I would say she's very doubtful.
Well, that's a plus.
That is a plus.
Do we have a point spread on tonight's game?
I would guess.
I'm really nervous about this game. I feel like this is kind of your last stand for the Iowa State women for March.
So keep in mind here. I don't see one.
I'm very nervous about this game.
As somebody reminded me, this is new this year. The women's tournament went to 68 teams this year for the first time. What does that mean?
So the play-in game is in.
There's playing games, right? But the bubble is a lot softer. So you have a. This isn't like years past. So Iowa State would still be at the net ranking is still decent. But yeah, tonight would certainly help. K-State has still been very good. Without Lee, they aren't as physical. They aren't big. You would think then that Crooks and Brown and Nadabu may have some success. But more than anything, Iowa State needs to protect Hilton. You lost Oklahoma. Oklahoma played great. And I know K-State's good, but this is a game if you want to make the tournament, it's not a do or die. It's not a must win, but it's a game that Iowa State really, really would help them tonight. And I think they can get it.
I do too. She's out.
Yeah, Iowa State just hasn't shot it great recently with those guards.
Feels like they are due for a
breakout
13-3 type of game.
I agree. I totally agree.
I think they're up for this. This is one that my guess, not that Bill emphasizes one game or another, but this feels like one that is probably gotten more.
Yeah, especially
emphasis.
after Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pride. Iowa State's lost 2 games at home all year to Iowa and Oklahoma on Saturday.
Correct.
I mean, this team is
which are both top 3 seeds.
This team is going to be. I'm excited for this game. I think it's a big one. Kansas State has lost 2 of 3. I mean, they've played a lot of close games. I mean, you look at K-State's got a great record, rankings high, but without Lee, it has been super competitive, and they've won a lot of them. Beat BYU by 2 at home. Lost Oklahoma. Lost by 7 on the road at Texas. Beat Oklahoma State at home by 1 on Saturday. Like, these games are really close. This isn't a K-State team that's just going to blow you out without Lee. I think this goes right down to the fourth quarter, and you got to hope Iowa State's guards, one, take care of the ball, and then got to get Crooked plays and come down to Crook staying out of foul trouble, being productive, and then got to make some shots. Whenever you play K-State, they make you shoot the ball, and you got to make them. And I think Iowa State can. I look for a big day from I thought Nye played really good on Saturday, which is super encouraging. Those veterans now have to, start stepping up a little bit more. Emily and Nye, and try and lead those freshmen. And because I think the freshman
seeing Nye come around was
huge. She's got to be
That's
good.
what
the last
they've been
month.
missing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Crooks is going to be fine. It's just she's getting so much more attention now.
Well, and this, again, as we've discussed, this was to be expected with the freshmen. I would make an argument, a lot of coaches will say, well, you're not a freshman anymore. Bill likes, in their defense, I would actually make the argument that it's almost harder because, one, the season's so much longer.
Oh, you've been playing all year.
Yes. And then 2, you've just never seen scouts like this. At the AAU, they don't really ever scout. At prep ball, like, it's just not anywhere close to, like, you think of what Audie's going through right now, scouting wise and double team wise. I mean, if
against Cy, like, she hasn't played.
Well, no, and
like
I've watched her play in the state tournament, and like it's just a totally different deal. And I know she's played good competition in AAU and all that stuff. I'm not discrediting it, but the scouts are all over her.
Interestingly, I found Iowa State's favored by 1.5 tonight.
Okay, that would make sense to me if there's no Lee.
Yes,
that would make sense to me.
Bill Fenley thinks that she's playing.
Bill Fenley thinks she's playing.
Yesterday, Tommy Birch tweeted Iowa State coach Bill Fenley on K-State's Ioka Lee, who has missed substantial time this season. She'll play.
Okay.
And also, there is a picture of her at shoot-around last night.
Oh, boy.
That's game changer.
So
keep an eye on it.
She's a top 5 player in college basketball.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Well, you know what? Play the game. Iowa State's really good at home.
Play the game, kid.
Play the game. You know what I love about Bill? Because I know I could see Bill in his office going, she's going to play. Like, we're going to play. We're going to play like she's going to play. We're going to, they'll have a defense for her. We'll figure it out. I'll be up there. I'm excited.
Really quick, and I don't know if this is even possible, but I'm looking ahead to Monday night.
Houston.
Iowa State at Houston. So you're going to have 2 top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
6 p.m. on ESPNU.
I know.
You have Kansas State at Texas, 2 unranked teams.
Yeah, you can't. Sorry.
Big Monday, ESPN at 8 o'clock. They can't make a move. Is it impossible? Like this seems like
It's
really
not
bad
impossible.
programming.
It's probably too late though.
But it's the same network. They can't say, "Hey, we're just going to make this switch. Like this is better TV."
I just don't know. I haven't seen that happening a week, 5 days out.
Yeah,
Like if
no,
it's
you're
2
right.
weeks, they'll readjust it. That's a bummer. Why would you put?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I would just think from ESPN's like the ratings that Iowa State Houston would pull, or
You got a top 10 matchup on the U. What are we doing?
which like a 1 and a 2 seed potentially. I mean, yeah, I'm not that smart, but to me that feels like a no-brainer to try and make that move.
I agree. Real quick on the women's team, still 42nd in the net. So you are definitely still in the conversation. That's why tonight would be huge. Win tonight, and
Well, and that net takes a huge jump with a win tonight.
It does. It does. Because let's say K-State is 12th.
All right.
Get a dub.
Connor will be up there covering that. I know we'll be short on Rob tonight because he is at state wrestling for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Got that happening. Connor will be up there giving us all sorts of good coverage. We will be back with Williams and Blum on Sunday.
What's your prediction on Tech's playing well? I think that game got a little more interesting.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I feel less nervous about Tech than I did TCU last weekend.
I agree with that. You'll be about the same 7-point
and
favorite.
And it also feels it's an 11 a.m. tip, but it feels like the crowd will be hyper engaged now.
Conference is on the line.
Yeah, like you're playing for a championship, where last week it was still kind of like, oh, this is fun. But now it's like that whole every game matters feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel better about the Tech matchup than I did TCU. So that means it's probably going to be a nail biter.
Well, there really hasn't been a game since Orlando, where Iowa State hasn't really been locked in, though. I mean, I think that's the trait of this team. They seem to be always ready to go. And that's a credit to the leadership when you have guys like Rob and Taman and Trey that are always going to keep pushing. It seems like they're pretty bought in right now. I don't see this as a team. And then, back to the Hoiberg teams, sometimes that team would get disengaged and then not shoot it great. Where this team, it knows it has to be successful by being locked in. So almost leads to being locked in all the time because they practice it all the time. Yeah, I'm not concerned. I think Tech's playing good. I think Tech is playing good basketball. But super interested how Tech handles that Iowa State pressure. I think I like Isaacs. I like their guards. Interestingly, Joe Toussaint's, remember him, the old Hawk? Why is there? It always seems like when an Iowa player transfers, they go transfer somewhere else where Iowa State plays.
Yeah, Frederick was playing last night.
Of course, there's another one. And then the other side note, Darian Williams, who had a monster game on Monday against Kansas, he almost transferred to Iowa State this past offseason.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That Darian Williams.
He was the Nevada kid. So actually,
Joe Toussaint still hanging around.
So Iowa State had basically 3 open spots in the transfer portal. Gilbert and Pavletsky were pretty early commits.
Yeah.
And it was really Williams or Kurt Jones, which is interesting. Iowa State, now, sure, Darian would have another opinion. Iowa State ended up with Jones and not Williams. Williams goes to Texas Tech, and he's been pretty good there. So another little subplot based on Saturday. If Iowa State's locked in, I don't love Tech's bigs. I think Iowa State can take care of business again.
Couldn't agree more. Aiden, thank you for production today. We appreciate it. Brent Blum, you're going to Hilton, right?
I'll be there tonight.
Yeah, you're going to the game. I'll be watching. I got dance. My niece Addison is playing in her district final.
Who we got?
Harlan. Up in Harlan. I would love to get there. I can't do everything. I want to be in Hilton tonight. I want to be in Harlan tonight. I got to take my little girls to dance, and then I'm going to take them to a little Valentine's date after it. So I can't be everywhere. We'll be watching the Cyclones on our phone.
We'll figure it out.
Is how it's got to go. It's just I would just live in Hilton Coliseum this time of year, but
they'd kick you out.
They'd kick me out.
Probably kick you out.
And it's just not possible.
Yeah. So one quick reminder: want to get this sweatshirt?
It's a nice sweatshirt.
WeWillCollective.com. Go to collaborations and find the golf.
I'll just keep doing all this free stuff for you guys and give. Oh, Van Winkle and Aiden want a hat. Go ahead. Take whatever you guys want.
It's very comfortable.
Sure, it looks. It looks.
You're
very
asking the
comfortable.
wrong person to get free merch, man.
She's watching.
That's true.
Crystal watches everything. Love you, Crystal.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Valentine's Day. Go Clones.
See you in Hil-
Thanks
see
to
you in
our
Hilton.
great sponsor, Mechdyne. We always appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on Sunday night. But don't forget, we have pregame, postgame podcasts. These are really blowing up. This is the new phase of CF. I feel it. We have thousands of people tuning in live now to these pre and post game shows. And yeah, it's
Somebody watching
exciting.
right now. I mean, it's cool. I'm amazed at
Our technology
It's-
is Aiden's helped a lot.
my 5-year-old loves the YouTube now, which is a great parenting by me. Whatever. But he'll, for some reason, our CF shows will show up on there. Oh, it's Uncle Chris.
Well, and
Uncle Chris, he thinks it's the coolest thing that you are on YouTube. I'm like, buddy, it doesn't take that much.
we're getting to a point, and I don't understand this, but with Iowa Everywhere and Cyclone Fanatic, where we have almost not really Cyclone Fanatic, but definitely Iowa Everywhere, where like two guys named Chris, as many people will watch on YouTube now as the podcast network, which is wild. Like I would never, but I think a lot of people have these smart TVs and they're making dinner or something and they just pop it on.
The algorithms are getting really good. We're like, it gives you what you want to watch.
Yeah. So it really subscribe is the number one thing you can do. And then it'll pop up all the
for
time.
it. Yeah.
And you can watch these. And
Hey,
we're probably going to have to figure out a way to do the Sunday night pod.
live.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
At least
people
with
just
video.
see us just
I know that's the problem. Bloom and I do that to get away from our children most of the time.
people don't want to look at us.
Danny's asking, is Cyclone Fanatic ever looking for new sponsors on the podcast? Absolutely. Send me an email, chrismwilliams@cyclonefanatic.com.
And that's the easiest. There you go. Look at thousands of viewers on YouTube.
He's Brent Blum. For Abe Wyatt, I'm Chris Williams. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody.
Cheers.